So the first style mistake that James Bond has made consistently over the years, wearing the wrong size suit. Let's go back to the 1980s, look at Timothy Dalton playing James Bond, look at the size of the suits he's wearing. Now, a lot of this has to do with fashion trends that were popular. The Armani suits that time period really brought in that loose, oversized look. But yeah, even James Bond is not immune to fashion trends. Fast forward 30 years, we have Daniel Craig playing the iconic spy. Look at the fit of his suit. A lot of people felt it was way too close to the body. Now, Daniel Craig's got a nice body, but when they look at the fit of the suit, yeah, they felt it was one size, maybe even two sizes too small. So what's my opinion? Do I think Timothy Dalton is a victim of fashion? Do I think Daniel Craig would go the entire day without breathing? Yeah, they maybe were a little bit of a victim of the time period, of the costume designers, but I do think that, hey, these guys put this stuff on and they looked at themselves in the mirror. They felt great. And that's why James Bond was able to get the girl. That's why James Bond was able to walk into the room and own it. And that's why you, whenever you put on a suit that fits you well and you actually like the fit, you'll be able to walk in with confidence. And that's what I want you to take from today's video, gents. If you look at yourself in the mirror and you're confident with how you look, it doesn't matter what other people think. Guys, if you've got the confidence, if you practice wearing that clothing, you will be able to get the girl just like James Bond. The next mistake that James Bond occasionally makes, not wearing the right watch for the occasion. Now, I've tried to make this really simple for you guys. I've created this whole infographic. You can actually grab it. I will link to it down in the description. But in this infographic, do you notice what watch you should wear with black tie? It's actually a trick answer. You shouldn't wear a watch with black tie. You shouldn't even be worried about time. But I know a lot of guys are still going to want to wear a watch. So for that occasion, you should wear a dress watch. A dress watch is defined as a watch that has a leather band and a very simple dial. But what does James Bond wear? Well, in Casino Royale, he's wearing his Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean. Is this a dress watch? No, it's a dive watch. It's a really nice dive watch, but it's still a sports watch, not one that you probably should wear with black tie. Yet he pulls it off. He looks great. And that's what I want to stress here. Yes, you can break the rules. I think he knows what the rules are, but he decides to break it. He's got a little bit of a Navy heritage, Commander Bond, and he realizes that, you know what? I'm going to bring this into my black tie. More likely he got product placement, but the point is it's a great looking watch. And again, when you know the rules, you are able to break them. And you remember that part where Vesper noticed the watch and gave him a compliment? Yeah, she's the best Bond girl ever. And if she liked that watch and she approved of it, yeah, that's all you need to be able to break the rules. Next up, let's look at Sean Connery playing James Bond in the movies Goldfinger and You Only Live Twice. Great movies. I absolutely love Sean Connery. And look at his choice of neckwear. Notice what he's wearing. A knitted silk tie. Now, what's going on here? When we go back and you read the books, you'll notice that James Bond is only wearing silk ties, not knitted ties. And knitted ties are more casual. So is this a mistake? Well, technically it is. But who's going to go up to James Bond and say, hey, that's a knitted tie. You shouldn't be wearing that. No, I think he's able to pull it off. It looks great. And let's look at Daniel Craig, Inspector, again, wearing another knitted tie. Now, this time he's wearing a more casual suit, and I think it works well. But what I love here is James Bond is working with the times. When they wrote the books, this was a different time period. It was a bit more formal. What we're seeing is a transition to more casual clothing with James Bond. I really like it, even though Ian Fleming may feel it's kind of breaking the rules with what he wrote for James Bond. The next rule that we see James Bond break, and I think he does a great job breaking it, is wearing a short sleeve shirt with a suit jacket or a sports jacket. And we see this actually, Ian Fleming actually had this preference. I have this preference as well, especially when you're in a hot area. And yes, you're supposed to wear a shirt that you show about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of cuff. That is the general rule when you're wearing formal suiting. But what about more casual suiting? What about in hot weather? Yes, I think you can wear a polo and wear it with a suit. I think that you can even wear a short sleeve button-up shirt. Yes, a lot of people don't like them. They feel that, oh, maybe if you're in NASA in the 1950s, it's a good look. No, James Bond is able to pull it off. Again, look at Casino Royale. A great look. He had a jacket. He took off the jacket. Again, it helps if you've got a good body. And I think that's the key with short sleeve shirts, is you need to make sure you got the guns for it. Make sure you've got the build. Long sleeve shirts, when they're rolled up in general, are going to look better. But I get it. In hot weather, it's a great look, especially when you put on that jacket. Very few people will ever notice. And if they do, well, you're James Bond. You'll take care of them. Now, this next mistake we see in the movies, Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Diamonds Are Forever. The mistake, the bottom button on the suit jacket buttoned. I'm not sure what they were thinking here because there's not a reason to do it. Maybe I can see it for an action scene, not wanting to get the jacket cut. That's the only reason I can imagine why. So here's a quick refresher. On a 2-button jacket, the top button, always when you're standing, the bottom button, never. On a 3-button jacket, the bottom button, never. The middle button, always. And the top button, well, it really depends on you and your own personal preference. Button it if you want to give the jacket a more formal look. Oh, and on a side note, a 2.5, which is a 3-button jacket that's actually designed to be worn as a 2-button jacket. The rules of the 2-button jacket apply. Never button that top button on a 2.5. Now, the next mistake we saw in the movie Spectre is that James Bond tried to pair a jacket and trousers that were too close together. And the issue here is it makes it look like you're trying to put a suit together. Now, is anyone going to say anything to James Bond, especially with, that Bond girl next to her? No, he's doing great. But for most of us, you don't want to go out there and try to pair and think that you're going to pull off a suit when you got a black jacket with dark blue trousers. You may say, oh, I look at myself in the mirror, it looks like a suit. It's good enough. No, remember, a suit is a jacket and trousers made from the same material. All right, so let's go to Live and Let Die. What do we see? Roger Moore pulling off the Canadian tuxedo. I mean, maybe this worked in the 1970s, and I'm not going to knock this look if you want to go for it, because I think for most of us, when you're going for the denim, try to go with two very different shades of denim, or avoid it entirely. Instead, bring in textured trousers. Look to bring in your gray flannels. Look to bring in corduroys. Look to bring in some chinos, but you don't necessarily want to go with that denim look. There's something off about it. Again, if you're going to do it, go for maybe a really dark jacket, light colored jeans, or dark colored jeans with a light colored denim jacket. Next up, you want the necktie length to be correct. Diamonds are forever. Let's look at James Bond. I don't know what happened here, but this is pretty bad, guys. Avoid doing this. Now, how long should your necktie be? So whenever you wear a necktie, it should go to the center of your belt buckle. Yeah, it can be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch higher, 3/4 of an inch longer. But understand, if it goes well past your belt buckle, if it's an inch above your belt buckle, you probably want to retie that necktie. So for this next mistake, I'm getting a little bit nitpicky here, but let's look at GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan. And he was suited by Brioni, but what we notice here, that necktie, that pocket square, a little bit too close. In fact, you could even say that they're matching. Now, I don't think they were exactly matching here, but what I will say is you should really try to go for a necktie and pocket square combination that complement each other, not exactly match. And so many guys fall into this trap. They go in there and they buy a pocket square, they buy a necktie combination that is exactly the same. You don't want to do that. You want to go for something that complements each other. You want to make sure in that pocket square, you got a little bit of color that works with your entire outfit and has one little bit of color that's the same in the necktie. All right, gents, so what to watch next? How about how to dress like the Kingsman? I had a lot of fun with this video. If you haven't watched it yet, it's a great one. Go check it out, guys. I will link to it down in the description.